Picture this. It's a rainy Friday night, you're cozy on the couch, and you've just ordered your favorite pizza. The doorbell rings, and you're seconds away from cheesy, saucy goodness. But for the person on the other side of that door, their night might be taking a turn for the truly bizarre. Today, we're diving into the world of pizza delivery drivers and some of the wildest, creepiest, and downright unbelievable stories from their roots. These aren't just about getting a bad tip. These are the tales that made them question everything. So grab your slice, settle in, and let's get started. Our first story comes from a driver who we'll call Mark. Mark had been delivering pizzas for about a year and thought he'd seen it all. One night, he gets an order for an address on the very edge of his delivery zone, a long, winding country road with no streetlights. When he finally found the house, it was completely dark. No lights on, no cars in the driveway, nothing. He double-checked the address, and it was correct. Thinking maybe the power was out, he cautiously walked up to the front door with his flashlight app. He knocked, waited, and heard nothing. Just as he was about to turn around and leave, a single light flickered on in an upstairs window. A few seconds later, the front door creaked open just enough for a hand to emerge, holding a crumpled wad of cash. The hand snatched the pizza, dropped the money on the welcome mat, and the door slammed shut. Mark never saw a face or heard a voice. He said the silence and the disembodied hand were more unsettling than any haunted house he'd ever been to. He just grabbed the cash and got out of there as fast as he could. Next up, we have a story from a driver named Chloe. She was working a late shift on a Tuesday, usually a quiet night. She got a delivery to a large old apartment building downtown. The customer's note said to come to the back door, up the fire escape. A little weird, but she figured maybe the front buzzer was broken. When she got to the back alley, the fire escape looked ancient and rusty. Hesitantly, she started climbing. When she reached the third-floor landing, the window slid open. A man with a huge, friendly smile greeted her. He explained that he was a magician and was practicing a new escape act, so he couldn't use the regular doors. He paid for the pizza, gave her a generous tip, and then, as a thank you, he made the pizza box float in midair for a few seconds before handing it back to her. Chloe said it was the strangest but also the coolest delivery she ever made. It went from creepy to amazing in about 30 seconds. It just goes to show, you never know who's on the other end of that order. Now, this next one is a bit more on the spooky side. It comes from a driver in a small town in New England, a place with a lot of local legends and ghost stories. Let's call him David. He got a call to deliver to an old colonial house on a hill, a place locals nicknamed the Watcher's House because it overlooked the entire town. As he pulled into the long gravel driveway, he noticed that all the curtains were drawn, but he could see the faint blue glow of a TV from one of the downstairs windows. He rang the doorbell, and an elderly woman answered. She was polite, but seemed a little distant. She paid in exact change and took the pizza. As David was walking back to his car, he felt a strange sensation like he was being watched. He glanced back at the house and saw a silhouette of a person standing in every single window, just staring at him. He said it wasn't just the one woman. It looked like a dozen people, all perfectly still, watching him leave. He floored it out of there and later told his manager he would never deliver to that house again. The creepiest part? When he mentioned it to a coworker, the coworker said the old woman who lived there had passed away a year ago and the house had been vacant ever since. Let's lighten the mood a little bit with this next one. A driver named Sarah got an order for a single cheese pizza to a local park after midnight. The instructions simply said, "Find the man in the squirrel costume." Thinking it was a prank, she called the number, and a muffled voice answered, confirming he was indeed in a squirrel costume and was very hungry. So Sarah drove to the park, and sure enough, sitting on a park bench under a lamppost was a full-grown man in a giant, fluffy squirrel mascot costume. He waved her over, paid for the pizza, and asked if she had any nuts. She didn't. He just shrugged his big squirrel shoulders, took the pizza, and waddled off into the darkness. She never found out why he was in the costume or what he was doing in the park, and honestly, she didn't want to know. It became a legendary story at her pizza place, and for weeks afterward, every time a delivery came in for the park, everyone would fight over who got to take it, hoping to see the squirrel man again. But not all strange encounters are with people. This story comes from a rural area where houses are miles apart. A driver, let's call him Ben, was on his way to a farmhouse late one night. It was a clear night with a full moon, so visibility was pretty good. As he turned onto the customer's long dirt road, his headlights caught a pair of glowing eyes. That's not too unusual out in the country, could be a deer, a raccoon. But then, another pair of eyes appeared, and another, and another. Soon, the entire road ahead of him was filled with dozens of pairs of glowing eyes, all staring at his car. He slowed to a stop, completely baffled. They weren't moving. They were just watching him. He honked his horn, and in an instant, they all scattered. It was a massive herd of goats. The farmer had apparently forgotten to lock the gate, and his entire herd had decided to have a late-night meeting in the middle of the road. When Ben finally got to the house and told the farmer what happened, the old man just laughed and said, "Yeah, they do that sometimes. They're probably planning a takeover. Here's another one that walks the line between funny and terrifying." A driver named Maria was delivering to a suburban house one evening. It all seemed perfectly normal. A dad and his two young kids answered the door, excited for their pizza night. Maria handed over the pizzas, and the dad handed her the cash. As she was counting it, one of the kids, a little boy about 5 years old, looked up at her with wide, serious eyes and said, "You have to go now. The shadow monster comes when the pizza arrives." Maria chuckled, thinking it was just a kid's game. But then the dad's face went pale. He quickly ushered the kids inside, handed Maria an extra $20 bill, and whispered, "He's not wrong. Thanks for your speed," before quickly closing the door. Maria stood there for a second, completely confused and a little freaked out. Was it a prank? An inside joke? Or was there a shadow monster that she narrowly avoided? She decided she didn't need to find out and made a very quick exit. To this day, she wonders what on earth was going on in that house. This last story is a bit of a mind-bender. A driver in a major city, let's call him Leo, got a delivery for an office building downtown at around 10 p.m. The order note said to go to the 44th floor, suite 444. When he got there, the building was mostly empty, just a security guard at the front desk who waved him through. He took the elevator up to the 44th floor. The hallway was dead quiet and dimly lit. He found suite 444, but the lights were off. He knocked, and a voice from inside said, "Just slide it under the door." Leo looked down. The gap under the door was maybe half an inch wide. He called out, "Sir, it's a pizza." "I can't slide it under the door." The voice replied, "Just try." Confused and a little annoyed, Leo crouched down to see if it was even possible. As he did, an envelope slid out from under the door towards him. He picked it up. It was full of cash, way more than the cost of the pizza. The voice said, "Keep the pizza. Just leave." Leo, not one to argue with a huge tip and a free pizza, did exactly that. He took the elevator down, and as the doors opened on the ground floor, he saw a man who looked identical to himself, wearing the same uniform, holding a pizza box, about to get into the elevator he was just exiting. They made eye contact for a split second, both with looks of pure shock on their faces, before the doors closed between them. Leo just walked straight out of the building and never looked back. He said it felt like he had stumbled into a glitch in the Matrix. So, the next time you order a pizza, maybe leave an extra good tip. You never know what your delivery driver had to go through to get that hot, delicious meal to your door. From ghostly apparitions and men in squirrel suits to strange dimensional doubles, their job is anything but boring. They are the unsung heroes of our dinner nights, navigating the weird and wonderful world that exists just on the other side of our front doors. What's the strangest thing that's ever happened to you during a food delivery? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to read your stories. Thanks so much for watching, and if you enjoyed these tales, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more content just like this. Stay safe out there, and we'll see you in the next one.